Hey everybody, good evening, good morning, good night. I am here again with All Photos Considered. I am so grateful for this journey, for this Black History Month journey, this history learning opportunity, because what? Black history, as you can see, is everybody's history. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about Black history, and specifically in this Pinellas County, our city, our home. But before we do that, I just want to remind you that I am Jewel Wilson Murphy, and I am here with All Photos Considered. And we are once again wanting to remind you of how important our history is. Mention me, Jewel Wilson Murphy. All Photos Considered will give you 10% off your photo and or media need. And so I just want to remind you all that we're so grateful that you tuned in today to learn what we learned. So born in 1924, she attended Gibbs High School before entering Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, FAMU, my alma mater. That state at that time, that was the state's only historical Black university. She was 16 years old. In 1960, she ran for Pinellas County Board of Public Instruction. And in 1965, she attended FAMU Law School, then won a seat on the Saint Petersburg City Council in 1969. Later, she became the vice mayor. And in 1972, she launched an unsuccessful run for the Senate, but she was still noted in 1973 by Governor Reuben Askew. He appointed her as Deputy Secretary of Commerce, serving as the second highest ranking woman in the United States government. We salute and honor the trailblazing legacy of C. Bet Winbush. Now, a little bit more history. We're going to talk about a powerful work ethic. And we know that if we don't work, we don't eat. And so a powerful work ethic was guided by Saint Petersburg African American pioneers. And who are we talking about? Flagman Welch. Yep, Flagman Welch was one who personified the value of hard work. The work ethic has been passed through generations. Flagman Welch, who came to St. Petersburg in 1917, was the patriarch of a family that included sons, David Welch, former city council member Clarence Welch, pastor of Prayer Tower of Church of God in Christ, and Johnny Welch, an accountant, grandson, our mayor, Ken Welch, our current mayor. Flagman Welch came from Alachua County, and when he got to St. Petersburg, he took any work he could get. That included carrying water for the workers building Gandy Bridge in 1922. That job paid only $5 a week. Later, he came along with his cousin, and they started their own landscaping business. They collected cow manure from a dairy that eventually became the site of 16th Street Junior High School, now known as John Hopkins. In 1925, Flagman Welch opened his own signature business, the Welch Woodyard, on 16th Street South and Dixie Avenue. Travelers Rest Church built a sanctuary on that site. So Welch moved his woodyard to 16th Street and 5th Avenue, and there it became a landmark business for half a century. Open 7 days a week from dawn to dusk, the yard furnished wood for heat, cooking to families throughout St. Petersburg, Black and white. Black history, everybody's history. Now these next two men, we cannot name one or talk about one without the other. It's hard to mention one of these great pioneers without mentioning other. Do you all remember the baseball color barrier that was broken in 1947? The battle for equal rights continued. In 1961, the fight came all the way to Pinellas County, St. Petersburg, as a matter of fact. The players trained in the spring where segregation in hotels, restaurants, and other public facilities was the norm. African American players were housed separately from the white players. Having just fought the right for Black people to eat in local lunch counters, these gentlemen decided that they would no longer participate in baseball segregation and vowed in 1961 to stop helping the Yankees and the Cardinals. Dr. Ralph Wimbush and Dr. Robert Swain, Black history, everybody history. We salute these men because we know that their contributions made a difference. By the way, Ralph Wimbush was the husband of Miss C. Bet Wimbush. Now let's talk about the railroad. There was a period of time when only one African American family lived in the present day Saint Petersburg. That family was in 1868, John Donaldson and Anna German became the first settlers in this area. According to Saint Petersburg Museum of History, Donaldson was previously enslaved in Alabama. He arrived in Lower Pinellas County after the Civil War ended to work for Louis Bell Jr. That's where he met Anna German, Bell's housekeeper. John Donaldson used an oxtail-drawn wagon provided by St. Petersburg Museum of History. This information was Donaldson and Germaine were later married and had 11 children. The couple purchased a 40-acre farm near what was known then as Salt Lake. It is now known as the present-day Lake McGorry. Donaldson became the first black man to own property in this area. Mayor Rick Kreisman said about this gentleman, he was a remarkable man who didn't just build a dance hall or fight to get school constructed. He built opportunity. He paved the way for much progress here, right here in our neighborhood, right here in St. Pete. And he thanked him and his family. Who was the mayor talking about? He was talking about Elder Jordan Sr. He was born into slavery and became a successful businessman. According to the 2014 report in the Weekly Challenger, before he died in 1936, he built Jordan Dance Hall, now the Manhattan Casino. He fought for schools for our children, for black children, and Jordan Elementary, which opened in 1925 and is named for him. He donated land for Jordan Park housing development. He also established bus line and the beach for African American during segregation. Black history, everybody's history. Fannie Air Ponder, coming from Sunshine City of native Ocala with her husband. In 1925, Miss Ponder was an educator, an organizer, and social civic leader in St. Pete. For more than 40 years, a graduate of FAMU, again, my alma mater, Miss Ponder taught at Gibbs High School. For 20 years, organizing the St. Petersburg Metropolitan Section of the NCNW, National Council of Negro Women, as well as the City Federation of Colored Women. She worked as a Republic Committee woman and helped build 2 community buildings, the Black community, the Council House that bears her name, and Melrose Clubhouse. Ms. Ponder directed her limitless energy toward the advancement of local, state, and national levels along prominent activist Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. We salute you, Miss Fannie Air Ponder. There also is a Fannie Air Ponder Day that was given to her by Mayor Herbert Golden. That was in June. So we thank James Max Ponder, also her husband. He was the first physician and the first African-American admitted to practice at Mercy Hospital. Y'all remember last week I told you that's where I was born. He was regarded as an influential leader of the African-American community in St. Petersburg for this service and also for his service in the United States Army. So again, y'all, I just want to bring a few facts, unknown facts, maybe known facts, but it's important, as my shirt says, Black history, everybody's history. And we just continue to meet you here on Monday mornings to remind us that it's not just 28 days of the month that we celebrate Black history. It's every day. Have a great week.